What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Freestyle Factory. Today we're here with the Hee Wing F-01, which is also the Diatone Ripper R690. I want to show you how to mechanically set up your wing and also the INAV side of setting it up to where you know you're going to have a successful maiden and it's not going to go into the ground, you're not going to crash it, and you're also going to be confident that it's going to actually fly. There's a couple things that you need to know that are very essential to this wing, to having it set up correctly the first time. So if you want to come over here and I'll show you the first things that you need to do when setting this up is before you glue your wings on, because it's not, you can't remove these wings once you build this model. The wings are fixed to it and they are glued. You use E6000 and you can also tack a little bit of hot glue around here, which I did also on the winglets, because these winglets do like to come off if you just, they just come off. My first maiden flight, the first time I threw it, it popped off, and you just gotta put a little bead of glue there and E6000 in there, E6000 in the wing onto the fuselage, and then do a bead of hot glue here. But before you do that, you need to install your servos and your linkage. So when you put your servos in, you need to make sure that you are on this top hole here, and on your back control surface you need to be on the second hole down. I know this because I've already tried doing it different ways, and it is seriously a pain in the ass once you have these servos glued in to try to change your throws, because you cannot get to the screw that's on the servo once the servo's glued in. So I suggest you go on Amazon and you could pick up these things. You get like 3 of them for 10 bucks on Amazon. It's for pretty much leveling your servos to the neutral position, and also you can adjust, you can see the full range of movement. It'll also do a little windshield wiper thing to show you the full range of your servos. But you hook this up to a 5-volt BEC and you just plug your servos into it. You plug up 2 servos into, I believe it's this end. You plug your servos up, you hit this button, and it'll bring them to the neutral position. So once your servos get to the neutral position, you'll have your control horn off. Once it's in neutral position, you just pop your servo in, not glued in, and try to align this control horn 90 degrees as best as you can. Because of the teeth, the way just everything lines up in them, sometimes there'll be a tooth off, a tooth back, a tooth forward. That's okay. Just try to get it as close as you can. And then you can glue your servos in. I would use hot glue. That's the best thing to use. Just put a ball of hot glue on the bottom of the servo, press the servo in, make sure your horn's on, your linkage is on correct, and then you're golden there. Before you also attach your wings, you see, I didn't do it, which I should have, was maybe you can cut a little channel in your wing for your GPS. Because once these wings are on, like I said, it's a real pain in the ass to try to do anything else. Like especially if, I mean, I run DJI only, but if you're gonna like put your receiver out on the wing or a VTX or something like that, the only way to really run any wires through here is you're gonna have to do that before you install the wings. So another thing, big thing that I had to figure out on my own was installing the motor. You can only use 2 bolts on a diagonal from each other, and this is the plate that will bolt to your motor. And then you have this little plate here that off-centers your motor from, I guess, torque twist, which would be my best guess, and it has a slant on it. You can see that it'll kick your motor to the left or right or up or down. and you want your motor, if your motor is spinning clockwise, which it should be, because that's the direction of these pusher props, is clockwise. You want your motor, you want the ass to be kicked that way. So you'll see the wedge is going, let me find the wedge here, is that way there, and you can see on here, it's going to kick the ass of your motor that way. So you're going to have two screws in the motor, bolted to the plate, and then the wedge kicking the ass over to the right. Now I'll show you what I did here inside. It's a little bit messy. I haven't tidied it up. I wanted to get the maiden done. But I'm using the Matek f411-wse. And I'll show you over in INAV how I did it with the DJI setup, because you gotta do, they got like 4 different targets for this flight controller, because it only has 2 hardware UARTs, and you need at least a couple more if you're using DJI. I'm also using Express LRS. So the big wood plate is going to be used for your flight controller, and if you're using the small Matek here, it doesn't bolt to it, unfortunately, so I just used some really damn good double stick tape and just plopped it right there on the farthest holes back, because there isn't a lot of space in here to put a battery. It looks like there is before you start getting some hardware in here, but there really isn't any room for your battery. You can fit a 1500 or a 1550 or probably a 4S1P lithium ion. And then there's 3 wood plates that you get. There's one for your flight controller. Obviously this smaller one right here, this is for your battery strap, and you can move it back and forth depending on trying to get your center of gravity correct. And then you have 2 different options here for your VTX, which is primarily made for the DJI system. So you have this big one here, which is for your air unit, which will just plop right on top. And then what I did, I don't think the standard antennas are going to work too well on this. They'll probably pop out. So I just got the, I think it's the UFL to SMA pigtail, and then I have this iFlight antenna that screws into mine. And that works really well, actually. It fits in there perfect. And then the same thing on this one for the air unit. You'll go right through here. You plop that in there. And this thing is, it wasn't hard to get the CG, but I had to add, I think, like 6 quarters to the front, whatever that weighs. I didn't weigh it, but it was pretty close. I imagine if you had an air unit, it would be closer, but it wasn't too bad. So my solution to that, I guess, I'm probably not going to stick with this too long. I'll probably use some lead weight in the front. But I think I got 6 quarters in the front. I just taped them right on the cover, because these covers like to blow off anyway, because they do lock in the back. And then, oh, while I'm on that, another thing you want to do, check your magnets. Because mine, right off the bat, 2 of them popped out. And just going with a little screwdriver or something you can get underneath it, pry up on them a little bit and see if they pop out, because I bet you'll get a couple that pop out. And just use some high temp hot glue and hot glue them down in there really good, even on the bottom of the hatch cover, because they do pop out. And you're probably going to want to find another solution to hold it down, so when you go over 100 miles an hour, this hatch will come up on you. So right now I'm just using packing tape, and I'm probably going to make a 3D printed thing, a little slide thing or something to lock it in there, but I'll figure that out, because I've only had 2 flights on this right now. But as far as mechanically, those are the only imperative things I think you need to know about setting this up. So I guess we're going to go over here and we're going to do the INAV portion, and I'll show you how to set up the what I suggest you use, which is the Matek F411-wse flight controller. Guys, welcome back to the INAV portion of setting up your Hee Wing. I'm going to show you just the basic bare necessities. I'm not going to show you a full INAV tutorial on how to set it up, how to install it and all that, unless you leave me a comment down below and let me know. I'll get into absolute full detail on how to show you how to set up INAV on any fixed wing. So, number one thing, we are using this Matek F411-wse flight controller that has two hardware UARTs and two soft serials. There's 4 targets available for this flight controller. So the target you are going to use right here is the Matek F411-wse FD soft serial 1, and that's your target. The biggest difference between using this with DJI and anything else is you don't have enough UARTs. So the most important thing is that you, with this target here, this is going to allocate your pin for LED, which is here, and your pin for ST1. Those are going to be your RX and TX on your DJI unit, your Vista or your Air unit, not this thing. So I can show you right here, the RX is going to ST1 and the TX is going to LED. And you enable that UART, the soft serial, in your ports tab for your DJI VTX. Okay, so I guess here, we'll hook up to INAV real quick and I'll show you how to set up and level your control surfaces. And that's the wrong cord. So that ain't gonna work. Where is it? Okay. Obviously, you're going to plug in your flight controller. That's probably the simplest thing in this whole setup thingy here. So we're opening up INAV Configurator 4.0. You should be using INAV 4.0 because it's incredible. It just came out. I was using 3.0.2. Wait, it'll pull up your COM port here, whatever COM port you're using on your computer. Usually takes a second. This thing's all crazy right now because I need to level it. But, I mean, you go through, do your calibration, all that, yada yada, when you install it. I can show you how to do that. If you just leave me a comment down below and I'll show you. The most important thing here that you need to know with using this flight controller, you need to go into your ports tab. And UART 1 is going to be your GPS. UART 2 is going to be your serial RX. Serial RX is obviously your receiver. And then over here on soft serial 1, that you're going to use for your DJI FPV VTX. You're going to save and reboot. Boom. Done. Simple as that. Another biggest thing is go into advanced tuning. We need to set your pitch angle, which is pretty much telling your flight controller what angle that your aircraft is in. It needs to be at 6 degrees. I've tried 2, 3, a billion. You have to have 6 to 7 degrees for your plane to fly. When you're at 6, it's telling your plane it's 6 degrees up, and it's telling your flight controller that 6 degrees is level. So the nose 6 degrees up is level. And in a stabilized mode, your ailerons, once I show you how to level them, which is pretty simple, they will adjust up 6 degrees to keep the nose of your plane up in the air. That's extremely important. I can't stress it enough. 6 degrees is perfect. That's how I do it. That's how you should do it. It doesn't matter what anyone else says. Trust me. If you go watch my other video, my maiden flight, I didn't do no tweaking, tuning, nothing. This is how I set my stuff up. I threw it, and it flew absolutely amazing. Set your pitch angle to 6 degrees. So, it's PID tuning, not advanced tuning, my bad. Computer is being a turtle today. So you go in here, you go over here to mechanics. You don't play with PIDs, you don't play with any of that stuff. You go to mechanics, you scroll down, level trim degrees, 6. You want that at 6. 6 to 7. I would say 6. Mine flies perfect at 6. If it's wanting to go up in the air a little bit, you might want to drop it 0.5. But I'm saying 6 is going to be good. So we go over here to your mixer. And no, it's outputs, ain't it? Outputs. This is where we're going to level your ailerons. You come in here 1500. 1500, I don't know why they have it set like that, but your full range of your servos is between 1000 and 2000. 1000 is 0 and 2000 is 100%. So 1500 is right in the middle. Now remember when I said earlier when you try to get these at 90 degrees as best as you can. Well, usually you can't get them perfectly 90 degrees because of how many teeth that your servo has. Some of them have more, some of them have less. The ones that have less teeth, usually your servos will be a little far back, a little far forward. Try to get them as straight as you can. And I mean, one aileron might be higher than the other, one might be a little lower than the other. Just don't worry about that. When you plug up your model into INAV, you'll adjust here. So you just start at 1500 and then you just find 3, which I forgot what wing 3 is. It is your left wing here. That's 3 and this is 4. So if 3 is a little low, then you're going to go, I think it's just play with it. Go up or down and you'll see what direction it moves. And just move these numbers around a little bit. You only got to move them by 10 or 20. And just try to get, once you get these level, just pop over here to save and reboot. And then you're good. And that's pretty much it, aside from all your other basic things that you do in INAV. If you want to learn how to set up INAV completely from scratch and know that your model is going to fly when you throw it the first time. I mean, 80% of my models, I set up an auto launch on a maiden, which is unheard of. People are like, don't do that, but a lot of my models that I'm confident with, I just throw them up in auto launch and I've never wrecked any of my models. Never crash them. I'm completely confident that they're a fly every time. This is how I set up all my models. And my pitch angle is usually between 6 to 7. So that's pretty much it, guys. If you want to know anything else, anything further, want me to describe anything to a T, just leave me a comment below and I'll make another video for you. But that's it for right now. That's the bare necessities you need to know about setting up this Hee Wing in particular, and you know it's going to fly. Is your pitch angle, having your control surfaces correct, and that's pretty much it. So thanks for watching my video, guys. Please subscribe and like, because it really means the world to me. I'm trying to grow my channel, and just subscribing or giving me a like really helps out a lot. It shows me, guys, that you care. So have a good one. I hope to see you guys on the next one.